Welcome to Daily Dose of Eylul. I'm Eylul. In each episode, we take small doses that make us think, smile, and stay curious. So, let's take our daily dose. Hello, everyone. I am starting my very first English podcast episode today, and I want to be honest with you from the beginning. There is a very specific reason why I didn't wait for the perfect moment to start. Because I finally realized that the perfect moment doesn't exist. We all do this. We wait for the right timing, for perfect conditions, for the right mindset, enough motivation, more energy, more confidence, maybe a little bit more money. And while we wait, life quietly keeps moving. For years, I postponed being visible on digital platforms. I told myself I would start when everything was ready. But the truth is, it never was. There was always a reason not to start. No microphone, no camera, no proper lighting. And one day, I realized something uncomfortable but very powerful. Waiting for perfection is a trap. There is no such thing as perfect timing or a perfect beginning. Real growth starts the moment you take your first imperfect step. And that's exactly what I am doing today. I hope this episode becomes a small spark for you too. So, why do we postpone things? Most of the time, we are afraid of failing. We take criticism and judgment too seriously. And what we call perfection is often just fear wearing a nice outfit. Because perfection in real life is subjective. What feels perfect to you may feel completely ordinary to someone else. Think about it. You watch a movie that had a huge budget, an entire professional team behind it, and still at some point you say, "This makes no sense." Or you go to an expensive restaurant, order a very fancy dish, and you don't even like it. Because when something is expensive or highly anticipated, we expect it to be perfect. But in real life, rarely works that way. Let me give you a personal example. When I started university in 2012, I barely spoke any English. I had to attend a mandatory one-year English prep school. At the time, I didn't even understand why I had to learn English. I thought, why I should learn English? They should learn Turkish. Yes, by the way, I live in Turkey and I am Turkish. I know, that was very immature. For 10 months, I had intense classes every day, listening, writing, reading, speaking, and I noticed something interesting. Many students were great at grammar and written exams, but they completely froze when it came to speaking. They were afraid of making mistakes, afraid of sounding stupid, afraid of being judged. I was afraid too. I thought I needed perfect grammar and perfect pronunciation before I could speak. But then one day, at an international student party, I realized something important. No one's English was perfect. People were making mistakes and they were communicating in any way. So I started speaking. And despite never studying abroad, I graduated with an English level equal to and sometimes better than many students who had. Years later, here I am recording a podcast in English. This is not AI, okay? It's real, it's me. Meanwhile, some of my classmates who had the same education with me still avoid speaking English simply because they don't feel perfect enough. The same thing happened in my career. When I graduated from law school and completed my legal internship, everyone told me the same thing. You need to struggle for at least 5 years. You cannot open your own office that early. You are not ready. And maybe they were right. I opened my first law office early and I failed. It wasn't a success. But what I gained was experience. I learned the realities of the independence very early in my career. Later, I worked as an employed lawyer for several years, gained confidence, stability, and professional maturity. When I decided to open my own office again, the conditions still weren't perfect. There were economic concerns, warnings, criticism, but I knew one thing for sure. If I kept waiting, I would never start. So I did it. And this time, it worked. I'll share that story in more detail in future episodes. And now, here I am. Since 2020, the idea of creating content on social media has been living in my head, but I kept postponing it. I was worried about how I look on camera, about not having enough time, about negative comments, about not being good enough. And most of all, I was waiting for the perfect moment. That waiting cost me years, but I don't see it as a loss anymore. Because during that time, I grew, my perspective expanded, and my vision became clearer. Even now, my conditions are not perfect. When I recorded this podcast in Turkish, I didn't have a professional microphone. Well, yes, now I have a good microphone, but I don't have studio. What I had was motivation. Because I learned that waiting for perfection is an illusion. Mistakes and failures are not exceptions, they are part of the process. Maybe you are waiting too to start your own business, to launch a YouTube channel, to move to a new country, to change your career, to begin something you have been postponing for years. But trust me, the perfect moment will never arrive. So, let this podcast be your reminder. Today, I finally started something I had been delaying for a long time. Now it's your turn. What are you waiting for? Don't wait. Start today. Because now is the most perfect moment you will ever have. I hope you enjoy this episode. Don't forget to follow me on Spotify, Instagram, and YouTube, and share this podcast with a friend you think will enjoy listening. All my social media links are in the description. See you in the next dose.